Hey, what's up, everybody? So I wanted to make this quick video. Basically, I've been getting a lot of people asking me if I could just do like a breakdown of like the situation between futures and Forex prop firms and kind of the differences, the good, the bad, the ugly. So hopefully this helps everybody. So if we talk about, futures and Forex prop firms, so I've been funded with both. Most recently, just got funded with my first futures prop firm with Apex, and we'll kind of break all that stuff down. And I've obviously been funded with Forex, firms for a while now, but just kind of wanted to go over the pros and cons of both, and then just kind of give you guys a good understanding of what it is, what they are, and how I guess you can kind of make a good decision for yourself on how to approach them. So first and foremost, start with the futures ones. So futures are, the prop firm space has been around for a while. Some of the older firms like Top Step have been around for years. But they've been getting a lot more recognition now as people are kind of switching away from Forex firms or looking for alternatives to Forex firms. So, there's a few pros when it comes to the futures side of things. So they're 100% regulated. So meaning that they're usually going to be regulated through a body like the CTFC or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange or some governing body in the United States. And so when I talk about regulations, I'm talking specifically about US regulations. So they're going to be 100% regulated. Usually they're going to again have to go through some type of body to make sure that they uh they are good to go. They're always not always, but most of the time you're going to see them in a phase one and not phase two challenges. And so meaning that there's only really one phase for you to trade to get to pass the challenge or get your funded account. Whereas, with the Forex ones, they're going to have like maybe two phases to go to sometimes. Some of them do have one phase, but the majority of them are you have to go through a phase one or phase two. The second thing or the third thing is really just going to be that they're cheaper, man. So they're going to be a lot cheaper than your Forex firms. So meaning that your your fees that you're going to pay, they could range anywhere from like 20, 30, $40 all the way up to maybe a couple $100 or a few $100 at the most, right? So there's an opportunity to really stack up and gain access to capital at a lot cheaper rate. And then so the last thing is really just going to be last pro for futures is going to be payouts are going to be through a standardized processing method, right? So some of these forex prop firms, they've um, the deposits and the withdrawal methods and kind of like your payout methods are they've gone through Bitcoin for some of them. They're not always as secure, and they use a lot of third-party sources. So a lot of these will have kind of like your standard, wire transfers or very reliable third-party alternatives. So when it comes to the cons though for futures, really the biggest con is that there's smaller drawdown limits, right? So if you think about a 50K with your typical Forex prop firm, usually these accounts will have like a 10% drawdown. So in that case of a 50K account, you'd be able to lose 10% of the account, 5% on a day, right? But then 10% overall. And so with the futures prop firms, the drawdown's more like 4 to 6%. So meaning you can only lose 4 to 6% before you lose the account. So if you have a 50K account, a lot of times you'll see like it's the drawdown limit is like 2,000 or 2,500, maybe even 3,000, right? Um, and your profit targets are smaller at the same time. So you might only have to reach um 6% on the account. So it kind of evens out, but there's small drawdown limits. So, if you're thinking about it in terms of a Forex prop firm, I tend to only really look at drawdown. And so um the equivalent of like a 50K account with futures might really only be like what a 30K account is with a Forex firm because you're only going to be able to lose maybe two or three thousand dollars, and that's going to be the equivalent of like um a a 25 or $50,000 account. So it's definitely cheaper, but it's definitely comes with small drawdown limits. So a 50K for futures is definitely not a 50K account with Forex, or 100K is not, with futures is not the same for a 100K with Forex. So, and then also the secondary con is going to be their monthly fees. So those smaller fees, if you're able to pass those accounts in a month, or you don't have to pay them again, but they are a monthly fee that reoccurs, basically until you pass the challenge. And so which is cool because they will reset, if that's the case. But for the most part, you'll pay a monthly fee if you don't pass. So you have to be aware of that. Even with the monthly fee, running for a month or two at a time, it still ends up coming out cheaper than the Forex though. So if we talk about Forex prop firms, if we talk a little bit more about these, obviously, these are the kind of like the big dogs in the industry and the bigger names and the ones that people are more familiar with. So generally, you're going to have more funding. There's going to be a one-time fee for challenges, meaning that obviously you're going to pay the one fee one time, although albeit a bigger fee. And then you have larger drawdown limits. So again, a 50K account with Forex is actually going to be 10% drawdown, where a 50K with futures is probably going to be like a 4 or 6% drawdown. So the cons to this is that they're going to be more expensive, right? So they're not going to be as cheap, even though there is that one-time fee. They're not going to be regulated through a U.S. governing body. So if you're a U.S. trader, the CTFC again and the CME, those different regulatory bodies for traders and trading activities, they work to make sure that everything is good to go, and you don't have to worry about, brokers partnering with prop firms to give you shady prices and deliver shady business or business that might be legal in other countries that's not legal in the United States, like, manipulating the spread and all those things. And then again, shifting landscape, as far as the brokers go. So everybody knows about the kind of the drama that's been going on within the Forex space, as far as, MetaTrader moving away from prop firms. And so every firm is really coming up with their alternative platform, whether that be like a DX Trades, a C Trader, Trade Locker. There's a lot of different regulatory bodies that are kind of happening, that are kind of um, making more uh, kind of changes in the space. And so, there's going to be that. And then the last thing is really just no trading view integration. And so with futures firms, you can really integrate into trading view, meaning that you can log into your broker, whether that be like a Trade of Eight or an AMP futures, and trade directly through TradingView, which works because most of us are doing our chart analysis on TradingView. So with the Forex firms, however, you're kind of limited to those secondary platforms. Now, some of them, kind of like a Trade Locker, are going to be really focusing on systems that work very similarly to TradingView. So hopefully, that kind of helps a little bit, but kind of paint a little bit of a better picture. So really, I just want to talk about some of the different firms. So if we talk about some of the major firms on the future side, so Top Step is the one that's been around the longest. It's kind of like the OG. Think about like the FTMO, if you will, of the future space. So they've been around for forever. And so when you look at some of the different options, again, you can see here like they have a 50K account, 100K account, 150K account. Um, and so um, if you talk about options as far as um, pricing goes, that's 49.9 a month, which is, not that bad at all. It's $49 to basically get a $50,000 account. Now, again, $50,000, if you're coming from the Forex space, it's not the same, right? So because you only have a $2,000 drawdown limit. So this will be very equivalent to like a 25K account or a $20,000 account with Forex. Um, and so if you think about it like that from that perspective, it's really, it's really only $20,000, but still $49 a month to pass this to get access to a $20,000 account. Once you pass your $50,000 account, once you pass, it's yours. You don't have to worry about paying again. So it's just a monthly fee until you pass. $100, 100K is $100 a month, right? $3,000 drawdown limits, 6,000, right? 150, 149 a month. So uh, there's really a good opportunity here to really stack up and get accounts. I mean, if you stack up 350K or 4,500 accounts, um I'm sorry, 150K accounts for three, four, $500 or three like $450 ish, you get access to basically $15,000. I'm sorry, about $13,000 in drawdown limits, and that's essentially $130,000 account, right? So you get three of those, and that's great funding there. And so when it comes to Top Step, that's kind of like the biggest one on the future side. If you talk about the other one that's kind of making a lot of noise is Apex. And so Apex is really a firm that's somewhat newer. But if you look at some of the plans, obviously, they let you choose between different brokers, which is same thing you'd see on the Forex side, like Rhythmic or Tradeovate. These are going to be futures brokers that you would trade with. They also allow you to in directly to your Trading View account. So once you get your login credentials, you can put this stuff directly into Trading View and, pretty much trade off a secure platform with a secure broker in this, one of the securest spaces in the world for US traders. So yeah, so when you talk about just different options, again, the same thing when it comes to Forex space, you have, 25K options all the way to 300K options. Now your drawdown limits are different. So again, you look at I don't really pay attention to anything other than the drawdown limits um, when it comes to profit. And so when you talk about um, when you talk about some of the different options here. So obviously you have a daily, if you look at this 25K account, your trailing threshold, that's going to be your drawdown limit essentially. So that's $1,500. So again, your drawdown limit, it's definitely smaller than it would be on Forex broker or Forex prop firm. So this would be akin to like a $15,000 account, or this 50K account would be akin to a $25,000 account. It'd be like 10%, right? So and the same thing with these. But at the same time, once you pass these challenges, obviously it's no different than trading with those accounts. And as long as you're making sure that you're mining the drawdown limits just like you would in the Forex one, your account is good. So that's kind of the best two. There's another firm that's kind of popped up out of nowhere, not popped out of nowhere, but popped up recently is the My Funded Futures. They're the sister company of My Funded Forex. So they already have kind of their feet in both water in the space, and they're very similar, right? So they let you get up to 600K in funding, right? 600K in funding with um, you know, kind of the same drawdown limits. Like this 150K account has 4,000 to 9,000. $100,000 account is 3,000 to 6,000. So it's pretty much the same kind of drawdown and drawdown limits, 165K, 4,000 to 2,000. So, they don't really have any um huge like drawdown limits, but again, more funding. And so obviously, you can trade these with any futures contracts. So, and if you talk about some of the markets that you're able to trade, um, doesn't say. Boom, boom. Okay. So like with Top Step, for instance, you're able to trade, or Apex, I'm sorry, you're able to trade equity futures, interest futures, currency futures, agriculture futures, energy futures, metal futures, micro futures, or cryptocurrency. So all the things that you would be trying to trade on a Forex platform, you can actually trade here and do it regulated. So E-mini, the different various indice changes, like this would be like NAS 100 or US 30 or the S&P. So like you can trade a lot of those interest futures like the bond markets and things like that. Currency, again, you're going to have access to be able to trade basically the same Forex pairs that you would trade, but just the future versions. So Australian dollar would be the very similar to AUD USD. British pound would be very similar. GBP USD, Canadian dollar would be USD CAD, Euro FX would be Euro USD, Japanese yen would be, the USD JPY, Swiss franc would be USD CHF, and then New Zealand dollar would be USD NZD USD. So you have access to basically the same things that you would trade in on the Forex side, but albeit with a very more secure platform broker and then through an exchange that is regulated, right? So when you're trading, on the futures market, you have, um, essentially, no spreads. They take commissions, but you're not immediately going in a drawdown like you would on a forex trade and things like that. So there's just definitely stuff there that you would mind when you're trading. So that's cool. And then, kind of talking about some of the Forex ones again, some of these are very big. So the funded trader is the one that, I have some funding with. I was most recently funded with them for like a few 100,000 in funding. So this is going to be very similar. Again, if you're looking at the drawdown limits, just to kind of draw your attention to these, um, your drawdown limits, let's say this is a $200,000 account, your drawdown limit is going to be, uh, I guess for this one, it is 6%, but they have different challenges. So your standard challenge is the one that most people are familiar with. You have maximum daily loss of, or maximum loss of $40,000 for a $400,000 account. So it's about 10%, right? You have 10% drawdown, and you have to hit 40,000. So your profit to your drawdown is very much a 1-to-1 ratio. And then obviously they throw in the added loop of your maximum daily loss, meaning that you can't lose more than 20,000 in a day. Um, and then some different things like expert advisors and all that stuff like that. Um, so yeah. So and then obviously different challenges come with different things. So maybe they get, like the Royal Challenge or the Rapid Challenge allows you to get paid faster and things like that. So they have different challenges setups. They're all going to be costing the same, but they just have different features in terms of like drawdown limits, allowing bots, and then when you get paid out after you get funded. So stuff like that is just kind of like the main difference between them. Um, boom, boom, boom. And I think that pretty much wraps up the funded trader. Another one is my funded FX. Um, this is going to be the sister company again of the My Funded Futures. They're ran by the same people, so they do have a feet in both spaces, which kind of makes me a little bit more secure. It makes me feel a little bit better about trading with either one of them. So this is again, you can check out this site as well. Um, they also have like trade copiers and things like that, um, and kind of helping you make sure that you can see the results in your trading. So, and the last one that I want to talk about is the last one that I want to talk about is Top Tier Trader. So Top Tier Trader is another prop firm. Again, you can get up to 600K in funding. You can scale up to 2 million and obviously keep 90% of the profits. So it's pretty standard stuff on the Forex side. Um, and if you look at some of uh, the processes, um, again, it's basically just the same thing as your standard Forex firm. You get 10% profit margins, 5% daily loss, and you can trade up to like I think like 50K or 100K account or something like that. So yeah, so it's pretty standard. The only difference here that's interesting is that they do have the Trade Locker system. And so Trade Locker is a platform that is um, kind of like an in-house solution for them. And so it's basically very, very similar to TradingView. It looks exactly and feels exactly like a TradingView platform. I think it's actually powered by TradingView. So if you're looking for a platform that's web-based, that is easier to use um, in comparison to the uh, the other space, the other spaces and some of the other platforms that are popping up. This might be the best option for you. Just using a platform that you might already be familiar with, since all of these Forex ones are moving away from MetaTrader. So hopefully this kind of helps you guys, and hopefully you have any questions at all. Feel free to as usual hit me in the chat and go from there. Thanks.